Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, so today we will move on to the text in C++. So if you want to have text in C++, there are three types of value that can use to store the text. The first one will be the char. For char, you can only use it to store a single character. Now for string, you can use it to store a sequence of characters. Now, similar to the string. So besides string, you can also use the char array, which also known as the C string, that also stores a sequence of characters. Now this character array, it's used, or the C string is used in the C languages. So C language is before C++ is out. So in the C language, it doesn't have a string. It does not have a string data. So if you want to have a sequence of characters, you will store it in the character array. Now in the C++, right, it's built up on the C languages, so it still carries some old data type. So in C++, we have these three types to store the text. Okay, and a char value. So a single character will always written in a single quotes. And the string value, where we have a sequence of characters, you will write them in the double quotes. So here I will give you some example. So for characters, right, we can have a character X, and then we can store a single character H in it. Now for string, we can have a string S that stores the words hello. And you can also have another string, I call it S1. You can also store, let's say, Queen's College with a space there. You can also have string that stores the empty space, right? Empty space is also a character. Now you can also have string that only stores one character, but you put it in the double quotes, but with just one character. That's also allowed. So with strings, we know it's more flexible. Now for the char array, right, then you will have the data type on char since it's the array. It's also known as the C string. So you declare as array. Now the only difference for the C string, for the character array, you don't need to give a capacity. But we know before when we declare an array, you need to give a capacity. Now for the C string, for the character array, you don't need to. So you can also have this C string and then you can declare as how you declare a string. Okay, and so a C string is like an array, but you don't need to give capacity. Okay, I suppose say for char array, we will use double quotients, yes. So the character array, also known as the C string, you use it pretty much like the string, but the only difference is the C string is an array, where string is a class type. And we will talk more about class type next class. Okay, so with this C string, so for this C string, you don't need to declare it as like the array we did before with the bracket. So with this C string, we can also change characters using the array notation. Like for example, if we have the C string, and then we declare to be the all lowercase hello. And we want to change the first character. We want to change first H to a capital letter H. Then we know the first character is at index 0. So we will access it as how we do with the array. So we want to change the first character to character H. So with the single quotes. So this will make the C string for our character array will now become the hello with capital H. Okay, and the same array notation, the bracket, will also work in the strings. So let's say we have a string S and stores hello. And then we want to change the first L to a capital L. Well, we know the first L will be at index 2. Right, that's the third letter. So to change it, we will access it just as the character array. So we'll have this S at index 2, and we want to change it to a capital L. Now this will change S to hello with first L capital. Any questions here?
Professor,
Okay, I see people asking, so what's the difference?
by using the index of whatever part of the string you want to use?
Yeah, so for the string, right, the index will always start at 0.
So is it being treated as an array? Is a string being treated as like an array? Or
You can think of it as an array, but string is a class type, where a C string is a character array.
so what's the difference between the C string and a regular string? If you can do this.
It's the data type. There's different functionality you can apply to it. So C string, it's just a character array, where string is a class type.
So what's the advantage to one over the other?
Well, so for the class that we will mention next class, with class, there are different methods you can use. So there are many built-in methods you can access it where you don't need to write the function on your own. So you can think of there are like a really built-in function there for you to use in string. Okay. And then the way to use the method similar to the function, but you will use it differently. So for now, you probably will think of them like similar. They are very similar. But in terms of different functionality to them, it's different. But with class, with string being a class, you have more access to it to do different things. Let's say you want to find the length of your strings, etc.
And also, Professor, what operations can you do to strings and characters? Like, can you do a plus to add some characters?
Yeah, so for string, you can concatenate the string with the addition sign, which we will also like all the operation we will probably introduce next class. Now for character, which we will also mention. Now, so for a character, C++ actually understand character as number. So if you look at here, I changed the second or the third character, like index 2 is the third character, L to a capital L. Now let's say I want to change the last letter. I want to change the O. So O will be at index 4. Now I can also do something like subtract 32 from it. Now, if you look at it, you know this will affect the last character since S4 is the O. So you will have HE capital L lowercase l and some character there. Now I see people have that will be the capital letter O. So that will actually change the lowercase o to uppercase O. So in C++, each characters are really numbers. So each character is understood as a number using the ASCII code. If some of you know what's the ASCII code. So in the ASCII code, the capital letter A in the ASCII code will be referring to 65. And capital letter B will have an ASCII code of 66. And then capital letter C will be 67 and so on. So alphabetical letter, it will just be in order up to Z. Now with this pattern, can you guess what's the ASCII code for Z, capital Z? It will be A plus 25, right? Since the first character is 65. Now we have 26 letter there. So the ASCII code for the capital letter Z will be 90. Now for the lowercase a, the ASCII value for lowercase a will be 97. And the lowercase b will be 98. The lowercase c will be 99, and so on. So the lowercase c will be what? 122. Well, again, you add 25 to A. So with this pattern, if you compare the uppercase letter and lowercase letter, they are different by 35. So if you have an uppercase letter, to convert it to the lowercase letter, you just subtract 35. So that's why it will change this lowercase letter to an uppercase value. Now, if you look at the number 0, 0 as a character, it will have an ASCII code of 48. Right, since now we have 0 as a character, right? So C++ treat it as a symbol. And then 1 will have a value, ASCII value of 49. And then 2 will have a value of 50. Then what about the number 9? So 0 is 48, 1 is 49. So for 9, you will just add 9 to the 48. Then you will get 57. So 57 will be ASCII value for 9. Now I see people asking, do you need to memorize the ASCII code for the alphabet and for the numerical value? No, because you don't need to memorize the ASCII value. If you don't know, or if you forgot what's the ASCII value, you can ask the C++ to print you the value. You can easily access it. So now let's have those examples in the code. And then let's run it. So here we start with a C string hello and want to change the first character, right, at index 0 to a capital H. So we will expect a hello with capital H. And then we have a string S with all lowercase hello. Then want to change the first L to a capital L. Then we will expect a hello with a first L with uppercase letter. And then we want to change the last character O. Now we know by subtracting 32, it will make it become capital O. So if we run it, we have hello with the capital H and hello with the first L capitalized, and then the last hello with the capital O. Right, so each character, C++ actually understand it as a number. Now when you print the character out, it will convert it by the ASCII table. Now, if you want to find what's the symbol for, or what's the ASCII value for any character, you can actually print that out, right? So you can just go to the program. And then let's say you forgot what's the ASCII value for upper letter A. Then what you do is you want to have it print out the character. So you need to cast it. You need to cast the integer into a character since you want to print the character out. You want to print the symbol out. Oh wait, you want to print the ASCII value for the character. So you want to print the number out of your character, A, capital A. So what this does, it will print out the value for the character. So you just cast this character to a number. So let's do a few more. So let's say you want to find the ASCII value for F. Then again, you will cast it into an integer, right? So you will get the value of the character F. Now you can also do it with the lowercase f. So if you look at, I compile the example here, and then we will get the ASCII value for A, right? I print out the A and then followed by the ASCII value. So for A, capital A, we will get ASCII value of 65. That's what we have here. So you don't need to memorize it. Then for F, the capital F, we will get 70, right? So we will have D, right? A, B, C, D, E, F. So we have 67 and then 68 for D, and then 68 right, so we have for capital F, where we have ASCII code for 70. And then the lowercase f will be 102. Right? If you add 32 to it, you will get the lowercase. Now you can also use it to find the symbol if you're curious what's the ASCII code for 91. Right? If you look at it, between the uppercase letter and lowercase letter, right, we skip from 90 to 97. So if you're curious what's the symbol for 97 or for 91, then we will just convert the number into the character. So we can cast into a character and then have 91. Okay, so if you look at it here, right, so the symbol for ASCII value of 91, that will give you the left box. So you don't need to memorize the ASCII code. Okay. Now let's say you have a character C equals to the capital D. Now you want to print out the character of C plus 1. What will you print out here? Okay, so it will print you the capital letter E. Right, since C++ will again understand the character as a number. Right, then we know for C, capital C will have, for capital D, it has an ASCII value of 68. Then for C plus 1, it will calculate it to be 69. Then the character that corresponds to the ASCII value 69 will be the letter E. Right, so if you want to find out the next character, you can just add it to your current. You can just add it to the current character. So for character, you can pretty much perform any arithmetic to it. You will just treat it as a number. But the number is referring to the ASCII value. Okay, now let's write a function. So what this function does is it will turn the uppercase letter to the lowercase letter. So let's say you have a character C equals to capital A. Then when you print out to lower C, it will return to you a small letter A. So how do we write this function? Well, what the title line of this function gonna be? Okay, so we know it will return a character, right? And then followed by the function name to lower. and then it will take in a character. So you can call it C, you can call it X. Now, the first thing we want to do is we want to check is the character an uppercase letter, but because we only want to turn the uppercase letter to the lowercase letter. So if the C, right, you can actually compare. You can just treat it as a number and then compare it. So if it's an uppercase letter, then the ASCII value need to be in between 65 and 90. So you will check is C greater or equal to 65? And is it less than or equal to 90 to make sure you have an uppercase letter? And then you want to turn this character to a lowercase value if you have the uppercase letter. So how can we turn this into a lowercase value?
By adding 32.
We can add 32 to it. Right? And once we've done that, we can just return, right? Return the C. So with this, right, it will only turn the uppercase letter to a lowercase letter, right? So if you don't have an uppercase letter, then it won't do anything to it. And that's what we want. Now, if you look at the code here, right? So if we understand what's the ASCII code, or what's the ASCII value, you probably understand you probably will read the code and understand what it does, since we are using the ASCII code. Now, for people who first time seeing the function without knowing the ASCII value, they probably don't know what you are doing here. And what if you forgot what's the ASCII value for uppercase A and then the uppercase C, and you don't know the gap between the uppercase letter and lowercase letter is 32? Then how can we do it? Well, we actually don't need to have the actual value. You can just compare between the characters, since each character is C++ already understand it as a number. So we can write this function as, okay, so the title line of the function will be the same. So instead of compare it with 65, we know 65 is representing the uppercase A. So you can just compare with A, right? Since A here, what we have here, A is a character, and C++ understand character as a number. So if you look at here, right, it seems like we are comparing two characters, but what it comparing is the ASCII value of the character. So you don't need to memorize it. So if C is in between uppercase A and uppercase C, then we need to turn C into lowercase value. Then we need to add the difference between the lowercase value and then the uppercase A, right? Since you want to add the difference between lowercase to uppercase, where you want to turn it into lowercase, so you have A first. So if you want to turn it from lowercase to uppercase, or if you want to write a function called toUpper, or if you want to turn it into uppercase value, then you will add the difference from the uppercase letter to lowercase letter. Okay, so once we've done that, we will again return C. So you don't need to actually memorize the ASCII value. You can just use the character to do the operation. Okay, I see people asking, do we need to add an ampersand to change the to change the character. Okay, not here, because if you look at the function, this two lower way does is it will only return to you the lowercase of the letter. So it depends on the function. If your function want to turn the actual character to the lowercase letter, then you will have then no more you will have a void type. You won't just print it out. Then we will pass it by reference. Then when you call the function, you will just call the function, change the character, and then print the new character. It's just how we want this function to be. We want to print out the lower case letter of the character. Okay, so it depends on the question. So if I don't want to print that out, I just want I want this function to actually change the character C, then I will pass in by reference. Okay, and let's put this into terminal. So if C is between A and Z, right, we will convert that to a lowercase letter. Then we will just return the C. Now in the main function, we had a character C equals to A. Now I want to print out two lower of C. And we will expect a lowercase a. Now let's say I have a string. And then the string S is called hello. How do I turn this string S to lowercase? Or how can I turn this hello to lowercase hello? Okay, see people say use a for loop. Right, then we can have the index starting at 0. And then hello have 5 characters when I is less than 5. But index will go from 0 to 4. I see people asking, do we need to change to C string? No, since for string data, we can access it using the array notation like the C string. So for the string, you can access each character as array. And then we will use the two lower to change each character. And then we will pass in the character. And then we can print out the string. Okay, when you access the string index, okay, so when you have a string and then those index is referring to the character, right? So your string will always start at, so you treat it as an array and then the index will start with 0. So the H will be at index 0 and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's similar to the C string in a sense. Now when I run it, right, you will print the A, right? You change we print out the 2 lower of the uppercase A. And then we also turn the string S to lowercase hello. Now, if we change the string S to with the hello with like mixing uppercase letter and lowercase letter. So we have hello with the L to be lowercase. And then we want to turn the string to all lowercase hello. So it will does the same thing, right? It will also give you the lowercase hello, right? That's because when we call the toLower function, it only change the character if your character is an uppercase letter. If you just change it, if you just simply add 32 to the characters, then it will change the L. Then for the lowercase L, it will also subtract 32 to the ASCII value. Then you will probably get a random, you will get a symbol for it. Right, so that's why for the toLower function, we want to check before we change it to a lowercase letter. Okay, any questions here? I see people asking, is it possible to change only half of it to the lowercase? What do you mean by half of it? Then you don't pass everything, then you fix your for loop. Whichever character you want to change it to the lowercase, right? So instead of here for loop, we change everything from index 0 to index 5. You will fix your array, or you will fix your loop. Okay. I see people asking, can we move the for loop inside the function instead of in the main function? Sure, it depends on what you want to do, right? So for this toLower, we are taking in like we're taking a character and return a character. If you want to write like a toLower function for a string, then you can also do that. Then you will have a function toLower for the string. Then whenever you call that function for the string, it will turn everything in that string to lowercase letter. Right, so it all depends on what you want to do with your function. Okay, now if you look at that right here, for the for loop, we want to turn everything in the string to lower character. And when we write the for loop, like we manually give the size of the string, where we have 5. Now next class, I will introduce you a method that you don't need to manually give the size. You can actually have a method do the job for you. you can actually access the size of the string. And that's why with string, it's more powerful than the C string. Okay, and we will end the class here. Okay, in terms of the second exam, the grade will be out end of the week. Now, I believe the exam for this class is not fully graded yet. However, there are some cheating going on. So some people copy the exam solution from Check website, and also some of you answering the question from previous section instead of your own question. So for those students, you probably will receive a 0 on the exam score and will also be reported to the department in the school. Okay, so other than that, we will end it here, and everyone have a good night.
Have a good night.